so much for those wonderful selections. When they sang that first song, they said grateful. I was this weekend I was spending some time, during the holiday seasons. I get to slow down a little bit. My life seems to be so fast for the rest of the year, but during the holidays I get to slow down a little bit. And this weekend I got to spend some time with my nieces and my nephews, a lot of the young people in my family. It was 13 of us total that went down to Kaleidoscope yesterday between the ages of about 5 and 14. I was telling some of my friends what I was doing. They said, "Man, you are crazy. Spending time with that many young people." I said, "No, I'm not crazy. I'm grateful." Because how many of you know that the seeds of my generation could be cast down and destroyed, and God has placed me in a position. Yes, some of y'all don't hear me. God has placed me in a position to be able to bless my family. Thank you, Jesus. I'm grateful for every blessing that you have given, and I know that it ain't nothing but because I got King Jesus on my side. I'm able to do what it is that I do. Thank you, Jesus, for his many blessings. I feel good in this place on today. I said, I feel good in this place on today. I hope you do too. It seems like you came in this place ready to worship the Lord on today. Amen, amen. I'm not going to be before you long today, but if you would stand today and turn in your Bibles to Mark, the 14th chapter. We're going to begin our sermon today in Mark, the 14th chapter. As you get there, I want to give a few acknowledgments to a few people in this place on today. Look off in the choir stand over there, and if you find the most beautiful lady in the choir stand, that would be my wife. That's my boom, ping, ping, y'all. Oh, she's down here. There she is right now. I ain't got to worry where she at. I know exactly where she at. But amen, this is my wife right down here in the front, lady. Thank you so much for your support in the ministry. I thank you so much and love you for everything that you do and helping what God asks for us to do together. Right behind me is my pastor here. That's an awesome dude, y'all. I said, that's an awesome dude, y'all. It's really a good thing when you can be following a man as he follows Christ. And I don't want to tip too much into what I'm going to be preaching on today. I got a lot of Reverend Neville's tied into my message today, but certainly, Pastor, thank you, man. I bless you. I thank you for being my friend, pastor, and leader, and such a great missionary of this church. These men of God, we are such good friends. I thank each and every one of you for your sacrifices, your prayers. And none of us are the same, y'all. We all have different styles and different ways of the way we do things. But man, it ain't no big eyes, ain't no little U's. We just love to see God using the men of God to be able to bless the people of God. It's so wonderful to be a part of such a wonderful team. Deacons, mothers, the entire congregation house, God bless you and thank you. Choir for setting the atmosphere. Woo. I'm going to preach this word today, y'all. I guarantee it seems like it's been like about 10 months since the last time I preached, but I'm so excited about this message as you find Mark, the 14th chapter. If you're there, say amen. In Mark chapter 14, we're going to begin reading at the 12th verse. Mark chapter 14, beginning at the 12th verse. I'm going to read this. Up until this point, I was going to try to find which version of the Bible I wanted to read it from. If you have the King James Version, keep your version because I'm going to hit a particular word from the King James Version as you see it on your monitor. But I'm going to be reading from the New King James Version of the Bible. The words may read a little bit different than your version as it is the Word of God. In Mark chapter 14, beginning at the 12th verse, these words are recorded. It says, "Now on the first day of unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover lamb, his disciples said to him, 'Where do you want us to go and prepare that you may eat the Passover?' he sent out 2 of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the city, and a man will meet you there, carrying a pitcher of water. Follow him. And wheresoever he goes in, say to the good man, put your finger right there on that word, to the good man of the house. Say to the good man of the house, the master says, where is the guest room, that I may eat the Passover with my disciples? Then he will show you a large upper room, furnished and prepared. There make ready for us." Verse 14, "Wheresoever this man goes in, say to the good man of that house." Amen. Today I want to talk about finding a good man.
Come on, brother.
Finding a good man. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. Amen. Finding a good man. In today's society, it would appear to be an inordinate number of women, a disproportionate number of ladies who are looking for a good man. Amen. It seems that today that there is a large capacity of women who are on the search for this good man that we're referencing. Now, if you're in the house on today, and this is one of you, if you are in the house and you are looking for a good man, can you just holler back at me by saying amen this morning? Amen. I was hoping I'd get a few amens right there. If I could just stop my message right here, somebody go back into the office and pick my sister-in-law Vera up off the floor. She was passed out in the Holy Ghost already. Because I know she's one of the ones who's looking for a good man. Amen. And although this mythological creature that we're talking about, this thing called a good man, may be somewhat elusive and somewhat difficult to find, I want to see if we can look in Mark the 14th chapter to see if God gives us some instructions on how to find this good man. Now, before I get too deep into the text, I need to start off with a little hermeneutical etiquette by giving you the backdrop of what's going on here in the text. Jesus has reached with his disciples a time called the Passover. Now, the Passover is, for all practical reasons, the largest of all Jewish celebrations. It is the largest of all Jewish holidays. Are you with me? So his disciples come and ask Jesus, where would you have us to go and prepare the Passover? It would be similar to you coming and asking someone from your family, where do you want to go this year and prepare Christmas dinner? Do you want to go to Applebee's or do you want to go to grandmama's house? It's a reasonable question that the disciples are asking Jesus. Where do you want us to go that we may celebrate the Passover? And although the disciples asked Jesus a reasonable question, Jesus gives the disciples a very difficult, a very peculiar answer. Now, in my study, I'm looking at the text and I found something on this study that I had overlooked before. So I've looked at this many times, but there's something I hadn't seen before. See, in verse 1, all of the disciples asked Jesus, where do you want us to go and prepare? But in verse 13, Jesus only sends 2 disciples. Are y'all with me? Everybody wants to know how to get where they're going. But Jesus only sends 2 people to make preparations. If you shout fast, I'll preach quick and we'll be out of here kind of fast today. But I found out that even though everybody may want to know where the good man is located, not everybody's going to follow the instructions on how to get get to where the good man's location is located. You can give some people all of the instructions in the world, but they're just not going to follow the instructions that you give them to get to the place that they need to be. Do I have any witnesses in this place? Hallelujah. There's a location that Jesus is sending his disciples to prepare for the Passover. They ask him a reasonable question. Where do you want us to go and prepare the Passover? Here's the instructions that Jesus gives. He says, I want you to go into the city. And when you get there, I want you to find a man carrying a pitcher of water. Everybody say so. Because what's the significance of a man carrying a pitcher of water? You see, in my study I found this out, Charles, that if you go through the Bible, you'll find this thing. Hardly ever will you find a man carrying a pitcher of water. Men drink it, women carry it. And I'm not being chauvinistic, y'all. I'm just being historical here, that if you look through the Bible, you'll find many times a woman met at the well, men drink it, women carry it. And so Jesus tells his disciples, I want you to go into the city and find a man carrying a pitcher of water. In other words, I want you to go and find a man who's willing to do what most men ordinarily wouldn't do. Do I have any witnesses in this place on today? I want you to go and find a man who ain't worried about what his boys are saying about him when he's doing something that may look a little bit peculiar. Or if you're looking for a good man, the first thing you got to find is a man who's willing to do what most men ordinarily wouldn't do. You got to find a man who's willing to get up in the middle of the night with that baby and say, listen, baby, I know you got to go to work in the morning. Won't you lay down so that I can rock the baby back to sleep? You got to find a man who's willing to do what most men wouldn't do. When you lose your job and that man don't come off on you and he says, baby, I work 2 jobs until you get another job. You got to find a man who's willing to do what most men ordinarily wouldn't do. You got to find a man who's willing to go the extra effort. You got to find a man who's willing to think outside the box. You got to find a man who's willing to fall down on his knees and say, baby, I know that the devil is after us right now. We need to pray about this thing. You got to find a man who's willing to do what most men ordinarily wouldn't do. Jesus sends 2 of his disciples and says, I want you to go into the city and find a man who's willing to do what most men ordinarily wouldn't do. When my wife, when we were a little bit younger, she used to ask me to go to the store. And she would ask for me to go and pick up personal items for her. Amen. So my wife would ask me to go to the store and pick up her personal items, and I'm not bashful, I'm glad to have a woman, who has need of me. I'm a man who's willing to do what most men ain't willing to do. So I would go to the store and I would pick up my wife's personal items, and I would go to the store and I would be looking for what it is that she sent me for. And the checkout person would come over and say, can I help you in what you're looking for? And I say, yes, I'm looking for the always. Overnight, super absorbent, extra long maxes with wings. And so I would grab the always extra long, overnight, super absorbent maxes with wings, and I would take them to the checkout counter, and they would bring them up, and I would say, no, sir. I think the always overnight super long extra absorbent mattress with wings was on sale. Can I please get a price check? And all I'm saying to you on today is that you got to be willing to find a man who's willing to do what most men is not willing to do. Follow him. He's willing to do what most men ordinarily wouldn't do. And watch this, y'all, because Jesus doesn't just say, find this man. But what does Jesus say do? He says, follow this man. Are y'all with me? See, it's one thing to find a good man, but it's a whole other thing to follow a good man. See, listen, fellas, I got your back on today. I got your back. I got your back. I realize that it ain't always that women are not finding good men. But sometimes it's that they're not following the good man that they don't find. Preach, Reverend Watkins, preach. Sometimes it's not that you ain't found a good man. It's that you're not following the good man that you have found. Listen, ladies. Stop sowing poison into your own mouth by saying things like this. I'm never going to follow a man. Well, listen, if you're never going to follow a man, then you just don't need a man. Because listen, if you found a good man, the order of that relationship is that that man would be the leader of your house. Do I have any witnesses in this place? Amen. You know, we've looked at this word submission, as though it's a bad word. But let me help somebody out in this place today. Submission, ladies, is not a bad word. The word submission means to arrange in order. That's what that word means. It means that whatever role I'm supposed to play, I have to be in position so that everything else around me can be fitly joined and in place. Does that make sense in this place on today? That's why the Bible doesn't just tell women to submit, but it says, husband, submit yourself. Submit unto one another. I have to be in position so my wife can be in position, so that our family can be in position, so that God can get the glory. Do I have any witnesses in this place? You've got to be willing to follow the good man that God has sent to you. Amen? Jesus tells his disciples, he says, I want you to go into the city. Find a man carrying a pitcher of water. Follow that man. Wherever that man goes in, say to the good man in the house, wait a minute, Jesus. Why all of these instructions? I mean, why don't you just tell me where you want us to go, and I'll meet you there? Why all of this, go here, do this, follow this person over here. He'll lead you there and take your... Why all of these instructions to get to the place that you know we're going to end up at? Don't we do Jesus that way too, y'all? Don't we want all of the instructions to get to the place that Jesus has for us without going through the instructions that Jesus gives to us? Hallelujah. But how many of you know that if Jesus told us everything that we needed before we got on it, some of us wouldn't go on the journey in the first place? Y'all not feeling? If you knew all of the times that your heart would be broken, if you knew all of the times that you would be let down, if you knew all of the times that you had to cry on your pillow at night, if you knew all of the times that you had to cry on the name of the Jesus, some of us would never go on the journey in the first place. Do I have a witness in this place on today? If you knew all of the heartaches that you was going to have to go through, all of the setbacks and disappointments, preach, Reverend Watkins, if you knew everything that you was going to have to go through to get what Jesus had for you, many of you wouldn't go on the journey in the first place. Jesus only gives us enough instructions to get us going in the right direction. And then when we look over our shoulder, we say, thank God, Jesus, that you sent me through what you sent me through, because I may not have been ready for the good man that you had for me if I didn't go through all of the things that I went through. How many people do I have praying with me in this place on today? Hallelujah. Jesus is only going to give you enough instructions to get you going in the right direction. When you find this man carrying a pitcher of water, follow him, and wherever he goes, he's going to lead you to the good man. Now, the first man you found wasn't even categorized as a good man. He was just willing to do what other men wouldn't do. But let me tell you how you know when you've made it to the house of the good man. I don't want you to overlook this point, because watch the good man's house. Here's what you recognize. It says when you get to the good man's house, say that the master has need of a room for the Passover. See, here's one thing that you can know when you have reached a good man's house, is that he has a room that's been prepared so that when Jesus shows up, Jesus can get down with him. And listen, he got a room already ready with Jesus. He ain't got to make a room up. He ain't got to kick cans underneath the bed, and he ain't got to put cigarette butts away. There's a room already prepared for Jesus' arrival. Because when Jesus shows up, he ain't got to get nothing together. He already got a room together for Jesus to show up in. Do I have a witness in this place on today? If you're looking for a good man, he needs to be a man that has a prayer closet. Some places he can go at night. Some room in his house where he can lean down before the Lord and say, I ain't got to get this room together. Right here is where me and Jesus meet. And I can come to this place right here because I prepared this place for Jesus. How many of you know that if you're looking for a good man in this place today, it's a man who already has a room prepared for Jesus' arrival? Do I have a witness in this place? If you're looking for a good man, he needs to have some place in his house. And look, he don't mind Jesus showing up. Listen, some people will let everybody else in their house except for Jesus. Somebody will look for every other quality in a man except for a man who's prepared for Jesus. Do I have any witnesses in this place today? If you're looking for a good man, find a man who doesn't mind Jesus being in his house. Does that make sense in this place on today? Now ladies, this good man, Jesus says to his disciples, go find this good man. And he's going to show you a large room. I can spend the rest of the sermon preaching right there because listen, y'all, sometimes our vision is not as big as what God has prepared for us when it comes to our relationships. God is trying to show you something larger than you've ever seen before. He's trying to take you to a place where you've never been before. He's trying to get something to you that you've never had before. He wants to show you a large room. But not just a large room. He wants to show you an upper room. Ladies, say upper. He wants to take you to another level. He ain't trying to take you down, but you're trying to find a man who's trying to lift you. I'm looking for a man who don't want to take me down, but I'm looking for a man who wants to take me to another level. I'm tired of the men who are trying to tear me down and ridicule me and talk bad about me and call me all types of names. Help me find a man who don't want to tear me down, but a man who's trying to lift me. I'm looking for a good man. I'm looking for somebody who wants to hug on me and love on me and nurture me and take me to another level. I ain't looking for... Okay. Here's the problem. Some of you still in love with basement brothers. Some of you like that feeling of that brother who don't take you to the next level, but when he invites you over, it's downstairs of his mama's house. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That brother still living at home. He's 59 years old and ain't got no job. If you're here, just say amen. I'm not talking bad about you. I'm just trying to clear some things up in here today. But listen, ladies, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that man. I'm just saying that man is not prepared for you just yet. Do I have a witness in this place on today? Because whoever the man is that God has prepared for you, he ain't trying to take you to the basement. He ain't trying to take you to the first floor. He ain't trying to take you to Parade Park. He's trying to take you someplace you ain't never been before. Take me to Blue Springs. Take me out to Harrisonville. Take me someplace I ain't been before. Take me to another level. Take me to an upper greatness in this place tonight. I don't want to see what I've already seen before. I don't want to see things that I've already been shown. Show me a large upper room. Furnish. You ain't got to bring no table. You ain't got to bring no chairs. You ain't got to shop on the Wish. You ain't got to bring no throw rug. You ain't got to put nothing in this room. You ain't got to buy no paintings. You ain't got to put nothing on the wall. You ain't got to change the color of the room. The room has already been furnished. You ain't got to add nothing. You ain't got to take nothing away from it. You ain't got to go shopping online. You ain't got to check Home Shopping Network. You ain't got to go on Amazon. The room has already been furnished. I wish I had some praying people in here because I ain't got to bring nothing to the table. The room has already been furnished. I don't need to bring no couch and no throw pillows. I ain't got to get no new light bulbs. The room is furnished. I ain't got to bring no forks and spoons. I ain't got to bring no tablecloth. The room is furnished. And not only is it furnished, it's prepared. Y'all missed a good place to shout right there. Y'all missed a good place to shout. Because let me show you. Let's go back to verse 12. The disciples asked Jesus, where do you want us to go? And prepare. Jesus says, if you go where I tell you to go, and do what I ask you to do, you ain't got to do no preparation in this phase. It's already been prepared. Oh, the biscuits have already been baked. The chicken has already been seasoned. Everything is already, the oven is already on 350. You ain't got nothing you got to get together. The flour has already been kneaded. The servants are already in position. Everything is prepared. Everything has been prepared for you. You ain't got to get nothing together. It's already together. How many of you know that when God has what he wants for you, it's already furnished and prepared? You ain't got to make no chicken noodle soup. You ain't got to put nothing else in the oven. It's already prepared. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. It's already prepared. Listen. Because you do know that Jesus is in the preparing business. You do know that Jesus is in the preparing business. I'm not feeling me like I need you to. He said in Psalms, he said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff comfort me. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup overflows. You prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemy. How many of you know that God is in the preparing business? You prepare the table in the presence of my God. I feel it. I go. He said, in my Father's house there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you, so that where I am, there you may be also. Come on and put your hands together and give your God a hand clap of praise in this place. Hallelujah. God is good in this place. Hallelujah. Now as I get ready to get out of here, I got one more point I want to make. Pastor, let me come down here for me. Come down here, sir, if you would. Thank you. Because how many of you know that God has sent us a good man? I said God has sent us a good man. And I asked Jesus one day, I said, Jesus, where would you have for me to go to do your will? Where do you want me to go to prepare your people for your return? He said, this is what I need you to do. I need you to go into the city of Kansas City and find a man by the name of Lawrence Neville. He's a man who's willing to do what most men ordinarily couldn't do. Oh, this man comes to seen before. You're going to take me to another level. Together we're going to go to another level. To a place that's been furnished and prepared. And when you get to that place, the good man in that house, he's going to show you to the cross, to the place where God is, and take you to another level. Come on and put your hands together in this place. How many of you know he's worthy to be praised? I'm looking for a good man. I'm trying to find a good man in this house. Come on and put your hands together and tell God thank you. If you're looking for a good man, come on and tell God thank you for Pastor Neville's being a good man in this place. Come on and tell God thank you. Hallelujah. Give God a hand clap of praise in this place. Come on and put your hands together for the Lord. I'm trying to find a good man in this place. Hallelujah. Thank the Lord in this place on today. Hallelujah. Y'all receive that in this place on today? Thank you, Jesus. Now listen. I asked Pastor today if it would be okay if I give the invitation. Thank you, Pastor. Because listen, I don't want you to lose anything in the pageantry of that message. Because how many of you know that the only way that they found their way to the good man is that they followed the instructions of Jesus? Some of you have been going through your life and you're saying, how come I can't get to the place where I can find peace in my life, where I can find the things that Jesus has prepared for me? Jesus is simply saying on today, if you just follow my instructions, if you just do what I ask you to do, and go where I ask you to go. How many of you know it's already been furnished and prepared? Every head down, every eye closed. Listen, if you're in this place on today, and you know that the presence of the Lord touched your heart, why don't you come down here and join up with us? Listen, we're just a group of people who love the Lord. That's right. And we just want to see people's lives change. We just want to see your life delivered. We don't want to do anything other than meet you right in the place of your need. If God spoke to you today and he said, I want you to change your life today. I want to do something different in your life. Why don't you meet me down here at this altar? The choir's going to sing. And we're going to ask you that just listen to what God is saying to you today. You know when he's talking to you. Meet me at this altar on today. We would love to have you by letter, Christian experience, or by candidate for baptism. If that's you on today, why don't you meet me at this altar? Choir.